Good evening, book lovers of the internet. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, make sure to subscribe because for every subscriber, I get a new subscriber and I also read a page from a book of my choice. So in today's video, I am going to be reviewing a book titled M, written by David Samuel Hudson. Now, this has about 200 pages and I rated it 4 out of 5 stars. I read this in one sitting, basically. It took me about 4 hours to get through, and I really enjoyed it. There are several reasons why, and there is, of course, a reason why I didn't rate it 5 out of 5 stars. So, basically, my dad got me this. When he got back from work. I'm not sure if it was a gift or if he is lending it to me, but Dad, if you're watching and you want it back, just simply let me know and I'll bring it up, I suppose. But anyway, this was one of the most relatable books I've read in quite some time. And I really love the self-referentiality and the intertextuality throughout the book. There is the obvious pride this read elicits in bilingual readers, which too is, of course, fantastic. Knowing how to speak and to read both in Maltese and in English fluently is something which I am, of course, very happy about. And this book made me quite proud to be able to read it without stuttering once or needing to do any sort of research. I appreciate how Hudson, the author, uses the story both to indicate the negative aspects of the literary society in Malta, and yet how the protagonist Damien creates a group for Maltese writers who write in English in order to pry ideas from them. So this contrast, I'm not sure if it was intentional or not, but this contrast is really interesting if you were to pay further attention to the book, if you were to read it more closely. Um, the way the chapters are titled is also extremely creative as the story, while of course being a story for its readers is also a process of how one should write a story and what not to leave out from the story. So one more thing which I appreciated about that and thought was absolutely original. M, of course, perhaps wasn't obvious at the beginning, but I was kind of expecting it. I saw it coming. M here stands for mediocrity, and for Malta in its mediocrity, and for the character's feeling of sense of being mediocre himself. And it is, of course, rather unpatriotic to speak of Malta in such a way, but at the same time, simultaneously, it is a sad truth that most are not ready to hear. And this mainly brought up the general idea of why one should write in English in Malta while being written in English itself. So, very, very cool, of course, over here in terms of self-referentiality, and also a very cool experiment if you were to take a look at it in the sense of postmodernist texts, which we've also brought up once or twice at university. And the way it experiments with the way a book should be written and with referring to itself in so many ways while still being a story that could stand alone. It's a very interesting. I mean, I've said that about a billion times now, but I really enjoyed this one. What perhaps fascinated me most about this read is the concept of identity, and the main character, Damien, never truly managed to find his own, yet there is also a lot of truth in what he's told by a friend, that basically one does not have to be absolutist. Not everything has to be either right or wrong in life, and one can view an argument from both perspectives and agree with both, or find some truth in both sides and be right every time. You don't really have to think of something as black or white. There is always an in between, and this is something which might be able to prove a level of maturity as well in a person. And the character is very well developed, but he doesn't really seem to reach this sort of standard. Um, as a student at university myself, who is also following an English course, and I am actually very interested in the concept of creative writing, this filled me with hope regarding getting my work published and how the goal is to never stop writing regardless of what you're putting out there, which is, to be fair, a theme which can be um, applied to a lot of ambitions, and I found this to be true with my own YouTube career. At first I didn't really care about the quality of my videos or what I used to publish as long as there was a video, and now I found myself to be much more confident in front of a screen speaking to an audience that isn't there, but I've improved, and that is what matters. I suppose that is also true of creative writing and many, many other things. I am not certain why Hudson decided to end this story on such a sad note, quite depressing actually, considering the build up to the relationship between Damien and Valeria. And I don't think it was the correct decision over there. I wouldn't even call it an open ending, although it is perhaps a new beginning. It can be quite confusing, but regardless, I don't think it should have ended that way. Though Valeria is a very cool name, and I think it might be inspired from a Game of Thrones. Let me know if you're watching this. David, I of course don't know if you know of my channel, but if you're watching this video, let me know if you're a fan of A Song of Ice and Fire or of Game of Thrones. So while the author states that this is by no means autobiographical, I find it hard to believe as there is too much truth in it, which is an element I of course appreciate and I look forward to and think is one of several indicators of a great writer. I look forward to this in many, many texts, and often since writing is seen as something that is meant to be deceptive, over here the truth outweighs the deceit, and it's pretty cool. Also, something which I haven't read in a long time. It was a breath of fresh air for me. So I look forward to reading more by this writer and also perhaps to follow in his footsteps. And one more thing I noticed that is that his main character is called Damien, right? His name, the author's name, is David Samuel Hudson, and taking a chunk from each name, you could spell out Damien. Yet he mentions in the acknowledgements that it is not autobiographical. I'm not sure if this is a coincidence or not. I might be speculating over here, but I'm not sure if that is entirely true. And I will also leave a couple of questions for the author in the description down below. If you're watching once again, please do reply to some of them because I would appreciate you letting me know what you think of my own feedback, since I let you know what I think of your writing. It would be a very cool mutual exchange. So, anyway, that's all I had to say about M by David Samuel Hudson today. Thank you so much for watching. Support my channel in any way you can. Subscribe, leave a like, comment, share. You know what to do. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one very, very soon. Bye, guys.